Hey, what's going on, world? This is Nurse MJ, and I'm going to be doing this video about the do's and don'ts around the underwriting process as a first-time home buyer. So if you're new to my channel, make sure you give me a like. Of course, follow me if you find that this information is helpful for you, especially in your home buying process. I have other videos on here and related to health and wellness. So if you're into that as well, take a look over at some of my other videos in the playlist and see if it's something that can help you in your lifestyle wellness goals. So I know on the last video I left off around the process. I was in the process of actually buying a home, but I want to go back. It is about a year or so later, but I wanted to just keep going with that series because I know it can help someone. And so the process about the do's and don'ts of the underwriting process. So during the underwriting process, they're going to have some moments where you're going to have conditions that they might approve you with conditions, and in that video I discussed about the conditions that may come up on a conditional approval. But during this process, the do's, that you want to do is continue to make payments on any credit cards, any bills and things that you owe. You want to make sure that you make those payments and you make them on time. Another do is to some more do's. That's one. Make sure that you follow all of the instructions and give all of the documents in a very quickly and timely manner. During the underwriting process, they're going to ask you for a lot of documents, probably some repeated documents that you've already done in the past. When you first went on, before it went for underwriting, they were going to ask you for all these documents like bank statements. They're going to pull your credit, things like that. And the reason for that, of course, is because they want to make sure that nothing else has been charged in this astronomical amount. They want to make sure that there are no changes that have happened on your end as you go into this process financially. Okay. And so you want to submit those documents, those pay stubs, those W-2s again, if you have to. Make sure you keep them in a file in your phone. If you're like a mobile person, keep it in your phone. If you're a person that keeps your profile, your forms on a Word document, you want to put those in order, have them somewhere where you can easily access them so that you can send them off right away. Okay. And I know a lot of people that are in the home buying process, you may be working full time like I do. And there are going to be times where you're going to have to stop for a moment. That's why I said, get organized, and that way when they do request that information, because they're typically going to call you, they're going to email you, you want to be able to just shoot them the information right away. Okay, so every time you get paid, moving through the underwriting process, go ahead and download those direct deposit forms and keep them bankrolled in a file that you can easily get to. If you print them out, same thing. Make sure that they're easily accessible. Okay, those are some of the do's during the process of the underwriting. All right, now here are the don'ts. Okay, do not go out here and purchase couches, cars, anything that is going to be very expensive. Okay, anything, honestly, let me give you a magic number, $400. Okay, maybe $500. If you got to get your car fixed, different story. But don't go out here and make these big time purchases, or making a big time purchase where it's going to require you to have credit ran, and then you're going to end up in debt. Okay, because remember, everything you have your credit ran for that you're going to put into a payment plan, it's going to hit your credit profile, and now it will reflect as another piece of debt when they look at debt to income ratio. Okay, so when I also say don't make those big purchases, do not start using your credit cards beyond 30%. If you use your credit cards, and most lenders know that you may use your credit card. Make sure you pay it off, okay? If whatever system you got that you like to use your credit cards to pay on things, do not go and make big purchases and now your credit score done dropped, or now you have more debt on your credit card, which means now you're gonna, again, debt to income ratio, all of that counts. So make sure that you don't put these things on your credit cards and then you can't pay them off in a timely manner, okay? Just don't put it on there. Sacrifice, okay? You've gotten this close. Don't go jump over the bridge and the rocks and all that other stuff and put yourself in more of a bind, or then you get to a point now they can't even approve you because you done flipped the script. Like, for real. Don't do that, okay? Don't go and change jobs, all right? Keep your same job. Whatever job you use and you were in currently that was used as the qualifying process for this part, do not go and change jobs. If you go and get a second job, I don't think that'll be a problem. I don't remember them telling me that was a problem. But don't go and change jobs or leave the job, or don't do anything to get fired from your job. Of course, people get laid off. That happens. But I'm talking about doing something way out of character and now you don't have a job, okay? Because then they're immediately going to say no, okay? Because now you don't have any income to verify, or they're going to be like, okay, well, how do we really know that the new job is going to give you that same income? How do we know that this is going to continue? So you have no longevity, no consistency, no skin in the game when it comes to the job. And if you are an entrepreneur doing side hustles, or you are working on building up your business while you are in the home buying process, keep the job, okay, if you have a job. Don't just quit that job again and become a full-time entrepreneur, because the documentation and income information does change and it's not the same requirements for entrepreneurs as it is for a W-2 worker, okay? So just don't make those drastic changes during the process, all right? Those are my don'ts, okay? Oh, and don't procrastinate giving out those documents, because the majority of people that, if you're in the underwriting process, before you locked into that, you were locked into a annual percentage rate that you probably had to do points and all this other stuff if you did it. But at some point in the process before underwriting, when you got approved to even start going into underwriting and doing the home inspection, all that stuff, you locked into an interest rate for a certain amount of time. When you procrastinate, it will push your deadline back to meet that requirement, and you may get charged lock extension fees, okay? Lock rate extension fees basically means if you go past the lock rate expiration date, then you will have to pay a fee to the lender in order to continue that rate, or you lose the rate and then they're going to have to lock you in. So there's fees behind all of that, and then you're just drawing out the process. You don't want to have to go through all that. Just don't make any changes. Don't go through this madness, okay? Because trust and believe you me, those are some of the things that I was warned against from my realtor even before I decided to pull the plug and say I'm going to move forward with this whole process, okay? I was prepared. She prepared me, all right? So when all of this stuff was starting to be asked, I didn't get all nervous. I ain't go crazy, okay? I got a little nervous with the Virginia down payment part. I'll mention that. Well, no, I can mention it here. So that part that I got nervous about was the Virginia Housing Down Payment Assistance. Okay, so on top of what I wanted to do with the FHA, which I got approved for, the down payment assistance through Virginia Housing was so that I didn't have to pay an extremely amount of money. So I would have to come up with the 3% for FHA, and then the other percentage of money that I needed for closing costs and down payments were going to be covered by Virginia Housing. And with that process, I decided not to move forward with the Virginia Housing, and here's why. There were some additional documents that were being requested, because when I had to do all of my bank information, tax returns, it was showing that I was getting money for side hustles, okay, like a business, with delivery services. I also was doing health and wellness products, and so that information was used in conjunction with my W-2. All right. My side hustles is fun money for me, and I know there are many people out there that love to do that do side hustles because they need the extra income, and so your qualifications around that are a little bit different. But because I went, not only I did that, but I went slightly over the income qualifications for Virginia Housing. They were asking me if I could write a letter or something saying that I would no longer do any side hustles, and I wasn't game for that. All right. And also it was a lot more documentation that was needed. I just felt at the time when it was happening, I just did not want to go through it that far. I said, well, you know what? I have money saved in the bank, which I was going to use anyway, to do the down payment and closing costs. So I had enough. I just wanted to save some just in case that I was able to save some money in case, to have a little my savings account, so that as we go into the house, then I would have a little bit more saved up than I would have anticipated. So needless to say, I went through that process of not doing the housing. I got approved for the FHA, so they did the re-inspection on the house, and the re-inspection, it really wasn't much that changed. They just wanted to make sure that there was no other issues, but there were no issues with the house. It was a renovated home, and it was in good, solid condition. They just, when you do FHA, they oftentimes will ask for 2 appraisals, and I did the inspection. I paid out of pocket for that, but they had to do all of that to make sure that the house met the qualifications under FHA guidelines and appraised at the right price, right? So that was the whole process behind the housing, Virginia Housing down payment assistance. If you're somebody that wants to do it, I will say go through it, whatever you want to do. And in another video, I will talk to you about what that down payment assistance could have cost me in the long run, which is why I also was like, you know what? I'm not even going to do the housing because you know what? Let me just say right here. So with the down payment assistance, it wouldn't have been a grant money or free money for me. So because of the W-2 income that I have, I wasn't going to be able to qualify for a down payment assistance that was more like a grant money. The down payment assistance that I was going to get was pretty much like a second loan. And they added into the mortgage. So you got your mortgage, you got your taxes, your insurance, and then there was another part that's going to be added into the monthly payments to pay Virginia Housing. So it would have been one payment, but it would have been like I'm paying out 4 different ways. So it would have added to the mortgage amount. And over the long term, over a 30-year term, on just the housing down payment assistance, if you are not someone that gets a grant and they have to add it to your mortgage, okay? And I ain't really adding it to the mortgage, but as a second loan, I would have had paid about 133%. So the down payment assistance was going to be about $9,000 roughly. I would have had to stretch that over 30 years, and the down payment assistance ultimately would have cost me well over, maybe close to $100,000. Yeah, close to $100,000 after it's all said and done. And so I was just like, it was nice, but then I thought about it long term. And to me, it's almost like the money that I can just give them for the down payment assistance that I already had banked away, I would have paid them at least 2-3 times more than what I've already said. So I was like, you know what? It is what it is. Just pay it. And y'all, continue to pour money into your savings account as you would any other time. And you have a renovated home. It shouldn't be nothing crazy that happens in it. So it is what it is, right? You just kind of make those sacrifices and move on. And that's what I did, because I didn't want to go through the hassle, the struggles, or whatever with that whole process. So it is what it is. But that's pretty much it. The process that I'm in, at that stage with the underwriting, the do's and don'ts, as well as the Virginia housing down payment assistance outcome. And then, also with the 2 appraisals and the inspection, which is a FHA guidelines to do 2 appraisals on a home. All right. So have a great day. Again, thanks for tuning in. If this has been helpful, of course, give me a like. Make sure you share this with somebody and drop a comment. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to either answer for you from a home buyer's perspective, because this is information purposes. I'm not a mortgage lender. I'm not a loan officer. I'm not a realtor. If you need information and details about your specific situation after listening to this, just reach out to them and ask them those specific questions. I just want to educate people from my perspective as the home buyer, and learn as to what I'm learning in the process as well, because I think it's so dope to learn this information, not just before, but while you're actively in the process of getting a home, right? So again, thanks again for coming on, and I will see you in the next video.